Yeah.
It was very cool. It was, I was mentioning that I'm finding myself doing AI based search. I use Claude
Yeah.
more now than I'm searching in Google. And
Yeah.
I'm doing searches like, okay, I'm traveling next week. I actually arrive in another country at like 4 a.m. or something
Yes.
bizarre.
Yeah.
And can you tell me if the hotel, what should I do? Should I hang around in the airport till it gets light? Should I
Yeah.
go straight to my hotel? This is the hotel I'm staying at. And it was able to say, look, I'm looking at the reviews, and the reviews actually mention how
Yeah.
much people appreciate that they understand that people arrive at 4 a.m. in this particular location, and they'll be all set up to welcome you. And that was
Yeah.
very interesting. And you can't get that off of Google.
What's up, Jeremy here, online ads guy. Thanks for checking out another episode. In this episode, I got to chat to Philippa Games, who is an analytics expert, web analytics expert. For the last 20 years, she's been doing it. She's seen a lot, wrote a book about it, got a lot of great elements. I didn't know if I was going to learn something from reading the book, but I did want to read a book before speaking to her, just to have that more informed conversation. And actually, it was a lot. I learned a lot about how there's things that even though I spend time in GA4 and in CRO all day, there was places where I was inadequately not thinking about, I was underthinking some areas, and she kind of pointed those areas in the book and how I look at some of the data and the connections between them. It was really good. So yeah, maybe a lot of things you could apply to your own business. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things here you can apply to your own business. Yeah, check out the episode. Thanks. Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Marketing AI for SMEs. Today, I'm with Philippa Gamse, who wrote a wonderful book, which I just finished. It's called Website Wealth, a business leader's guide to driving real value from your analytics. Welcome to the show, Philippa.
Hi, thank you so much, Jeremy.
Yeah, can you give a quick introduction of yourself, just for a bit of street cred? I know you've done this for like over 20 years. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working in analytics a long time, and the reason for that is because I love the mix of data and creativity that analytics gives you, because it's not just enough to be a geek and interpret the data, but then, the question is, so what are you going to do about it? And that's where you can get creative. So I kind of find that inspiring. Hopefully that comes through in the book.
100%. Yeah. A lot of stuff in here is actionable, I think. Because I think it's one of those timeless books where you didn't write about how to click this button, because there's people for that. It's about how to approach it right from the beginning. And I want to read this passage from page 42 when I read it, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. It says, your site should make visitors feel recognized and understood in terms of who they are and why they are coming to the site, engaged and interested in your content, convinced that you are credible and competent in what you do, supported in meeting their needs and solving their problems, and lastly, motivated to move forward with you. That's, I think, really sums it up.
Yeah.
What should happen? Yeah.
Some time ago in my consulting practice, I had a diagnostic tool that I called something like, the top 5 emotions you need for your website, you need to create in visitors, right?
Yep.
And that was the 5 emotions, the ones that you just read.
Yeah.
Because it's basically about, a visitor arrives and they're saying, hello, am I in the right place?
Yes.
Can you help me solve my problems?
Yep.
So your job, first of all, is to say, hello, I understand who you are and what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to say, well, prove it, right? Because
Yep.
they don't know who you are.
Yep.
So you've got to be able to establish credibility, that you are who you are and you do what you say and you can do it.
Yes.
And then actually, obviously, at some point, you've got to motivate them to want to take action.
Yes, that's where the CTA comes in as well. Yeah.
And then, unless you're the sort of business, which I also talk about in some parts of the book, where, you never want to see your customer again. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But I mean, where there's a very long buying cycle. So somebody typically isn't going to come and buy from you very often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a car, for example.
Yep.
Many businesses want people to come back and re-engage. And so there's that whole support, post-sale piece.
Yes, for sure. And one of the first things you said in the book was about how the clarity of business, how you should, the strategy, and how many people can't really articulate it. And then the business, the website doesn't really play into that anymore because they can't even articulate it simply to you, right?
Right. Well, I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because, often if people come to me and they say, can you help me? And then they say, how much experience do you have in my industry? And to me, that's the wrong question because, if you're the business owner, you're the expert in your industry way more than I'm ever going to be. What I've got is my expertise. And if we put that together, then I understand how the data works and how the analytics work and what they can tell you and what you can extrapolate from that. And then you can say, right, but in my industry, the context is X or whatever, and we can put it all together. I can't tell you how your website's performing if you don't tell me what you want it to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can do a certain amount, but really, you've got to know what you're trying to get done, and that is an area that I have found problematic. A lot of people sort of throw a site up, and you say, "Okay, I'm on this page. What am I supposed to do when I'm on this page?" And they say, "Well, and they don't really know."
I fully get what you're saying. I'm in the industry, right? So I spend a lot of time in GA4, right? All the time. And we are going there for different reasons as you are going there because you're more of a conversion rate optimization kind of person, strategy, big picture. We are in there to prove what ads have done for the client and how it benchmarks against other things, right? Which we can touch on later as well. But just say, for example, my own website, I'm going through this whole dilemma right now because I'm doing this pod, right? I have YouTube videos. I'm like, well, I'm a B2B, so maybe I should get them to capture email. So it becomes a mess. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe someone wants to use me now. Maybe you should put a contact form. So I think that I'm in the same seat as a lot of these people that you might be referring to. It's like, well, your website is not clear on the strategy, right? Are you trying to nurture them or you try to, get them to do something right away? Do you run into that a lot? Or can it be a mix?
Oh, yeah.
In your opinion? Yeah.
I don't see why not. I mean, if you look at Amazon, let's take an example. Everybody knows, right? Way at the top, you're looking at an item on Amazon, right? Way at the top of the page, there's basically, one click buy this now button immediately. So that if somebody's coming to the site and they know this is the item I want, I'm just here to buy it. Don't make me go through all sorts of hoops. Just let me buy it. Boom. Yeah. And I don't even have to put all my details in again because you already know them. Just say, send me this item. Right. And then below that, there's all the stuff about the item. There's the reviews. There's a description. There's the see this company's page on Amazon and see all the other stuff they've got. Right. So and that's all the engagement stuff. And that's for all the people who need to be convinced or have questions. So absolutely you can mix it up.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting view because, like the stuff they preach is about niching down. I think there's benefits niching down and knowing our industry. Just say you knew websites and you knew building industry inside out. Yes, it can help. But a lot of times, like because of your years of consulting, like you can put it together. Do you know what I mean? You can look at a business, talk to the owner, see what they're capable of, and kind of draw out the information that's supposed to be there.
Right. And actually, a lot of the time, something that's worked in another industry might well be worth bringing in as an idea.
Oh, interesting.
I remember...
You're too close to the action. Yeah, sorry. Please
I remember
go on.
early in the days of digital marketing, the sites that were really creative and really good at doing innovative things were the adult porn sites. Oh. Now, I'm not saying that I consulted with porn sites, but if you remember that, what they did now, and some of it was horrible, obviously, and pretty cheesy and all the rest of it. But there was some real thinking behind some of what those sites did to draw people in, that could be extrapolated out. And, that's what I'm saying.
Into a proper business.
If you're only used to your own industry.
Yes.
There are times when something that's happening in another industry, you can adapt to your situation.
I can relate to because I look at architects' websites, they all look the same. It's so artful, like how elegant they are. Like there's no way to tell what they're doing or contact them, because they have to make it like it's like an art gallery. Do you know what I mean? Like everything's got to be beautiful, precise, but it doesn't really have call to action. So I think it's the Overton window kind of philosophy, right? Because architects can't be doing the whole clickbait game, right? Like click funnel stuff. That's junk. Right. But at the same time, they should probably take from some other industries that they're more prestige. Yeah, cool. And I know that speaking of traffic and traffic quality, I know you have a really strong view because you have chapters dedicated to it on bounce rate.
Well,
Yeah,
luckily in Google Analytics 4, well, actually they brought it back, didn't they? Because everybody was so
yeah.
upset that it went away.
Engagement rate. It's the opposite
Well,
or
engagement
something.
rates
Yeah,
is a different metric, and
yeah.
that's the thing that's interesting. So, just in case listeners need the
Yes,
reminder, so a bounce rate is when
yeah,
somebody comes to your site and they go to one page and they don't do anything else, like they don't click anything and they don't go to another page and they leave. Now, that was an unhelpful metric for several reasons, and one of them was like if you have a blog or an authority piece, right? They could read the whole thing. They might be on the site for
yeah,
5 minutes. They might be watching your videos and everything. But if they don't go to another page and they don't click anything else, that's a bounce, right? And looks bad, and everybody got all upset.
yeah.
Now, granted, you probably should have said something like, here's what to do next with the strategy that we were just
Yes, with
talking
the
about.
right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But people would obsess about this bounce rate. I mean, a number of times I got asked, help, my bounce rate's 40%. What am I going to do? And one of the things about that is that there's no question in my experience that will always be people who come to your website who don't belong there. They just find the site by mistake or whatever, and they've clicked something and they're not buyers for you, and you just need to let them go away.
Yep.
And so everybody obsesses like my bounce rate's 40%. Well, okay, but that means that 60% of your visitors are staying to have a look around.
Yes.
How many
Yeah.
of them are actually in the end doing what you want them to do? And why aren't you more focused on them
And what they're doing.
and what they're
Like,
doing and how
yeah.
you can improve their experience so that you'll get more outcomes?
Well, for
Now,
sure. Yep.
GA4 has actually changed its whole bounce rate thing into what you just said, which is engagement rate, which does make more sense because it's somebody who doesn't, I mean, you can set the time on page. So if somebody, for example, spends more than 30 seconds on the page, you can call that what they're now calling an engaged visit, which means that even if they don't go to another page, it won't record as a bounce, right?
Yeah.
Or they go to another page or they interact in some way, and that makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. Also,
But it's also
sorry. Yeah.
if I can just finish, it's also just the focus on the concept of the bounce rate, like focusing on the bad news and the people that you've lost,
Yeah.
as opposed to the people that you could do more with.
Yeah, because in your book, you cover a lot of the opportunities that could come from that as well, right? Both sides,
Right.
the ones you lost, why they came, and also the ones that stayed, what else they could get. Yeah, I was just going to say, I've been in the GA4 game, Google Analytics game for a long time too. But one thing that I haven't done very well, and your book alluded me to this, was segmenting it based on only the people that you want to target, and then have a look at what they are doing. Like as in age group, location, whatever, like if it's a local thing and you got bot crawling from SEO, you got things, and then that ruins everything, right? About your bounce rate. So segment it based on, say, the geolocation. So for me, Sydney, right? Sydney people who's in a geolocation, who's say, it's a female audience and 35 up. Have a look at what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? And analyze that in your reporting. I say, oh, that's good.
And just with a caveat that some of those metrics are ones which may not be hugely reliable in, because that piece about are they female, are they 30? If they're logged into your site and you know who they are and you've got a profile of them because they're a member, then you do know who they are.
Yeah.
If they're just a visitor, then Google is kind of making some assumptions based on their behavior.
Yeah.
The geographic one is probably a bit more accurate, but of course, a lot of people use VPNs these days.
Yep.
So you do need to be careful about which segments you use and how much kind of faith you put in them. But, years ago, I had the honor of teaching with a company called Market Motive, which doesn't exist anymore. But if you know who Avinash Kaushik is, he wrote Web Analytics 2.0, which was like a fundamental book in analytics, I can't remember when it came out. Anyway, I had the honor of teaching alongside him. I mean, he's like the guru.
Yeah, nice.
And one of the things that we would constantly try to drum into people is you can't treat all of your visitors like they're the same, because they're not. And this thing with segmenting, which, in analytics, it's called audiences, or it's called something, I can't remember what it's, comparisons, right?
Yes.
But basically what you're doing is saying, show me only the visitors who fulfill some kind of criteria. So you could say, show me only the visitors who actually buy something, because you're looking for the commonalities among them to see what is it that I can go for that might, increase that pool.
Yeah.
Or show me the people who didn't do something, or show me the people, as you said, from a certain area, whatever it might be. But that makes everything that you're looking at so much more valuable, because you're not just taking all the people that are just messing up the picture.
Yeah, and actionable too. Now, I was going to say, with the audience thing you pointed out about the age and all that, I think we have to get critical volume. And that's when I think that, having clients who are like have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming to the website. I know that with the iOS 14 and the pixel tracking privacy laws, you're going to lose a lot of them, right? I think Google is better than Facebook in terms of when it comes to data accuracy, because people log into their Gmail, then they browse. So it's a little bit better than Facebook. Facebook now requires face ID to verify your account. So it's getting a bit better as well. I do trust the age and the gender actually. Yeah, but I do need that critical volume, like you said. If it's a local ice cream shop, then no, there's 30, 40 people that visited. No, I'm not gonna, that's not enough, actionable enough. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And we should make the point at which, is that, yes, you are losing a lot of record of visitors, because if visitors block cookies, Safari, I think the Safari browser deletes cookies after not very long, and so on and so on. So it's really important for anybody watching this to understand that you're not seeing actual auditable numbers. You're seeing indications of patterns. And so something that, you get a lot is people say, look, my CRM system is showing different number of sales to what analytics is showing, and which one is right. And hopefully the answer is your CRM is right, because that's your actual tool of record.
Yes. Yeah.
And analytics should never be your tool of record. It's a tool of indicators, right?
Yeah.
Patterns.
Correct. And it was so liberating when I was reading that section, because we go through it with businesses who I can't remember how you phrased it, but they overly invest in pushing to make sure that GA4 and whatever data matches. And you spent a whole meeting talking about that, right? I said, it doesn't matter, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's lower 20% every month. So it's not like it's, uncorrelated. It's correlated. It's just that people are blocking it, and your own first party data is picking it up. But I think that happened a lot, probably a few years after COVID, when GA4 first came out. Man, there was meetings just dedicated to those. I'm glad that part's over now as well. So, in terms of now moving on to like content and AI, the example you gave the other day about the 3 a.m. hotel, how AI was able to scrape that information, putting the AI overview. Yeah.
Right.
Remember that? So I think
we were talking offline. That wasn't part of something that we recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, so we were talking in the pre-recording stuff about how that's the kind of thing for AI now. Yeah,
it was very cool. It was. I was mentioning that I'm finding myself doing AI based search. I use Claude.
Yeah.
More now that I'm searching in Google, and I'm doing searches like, okay, I'm traveling next week. I actually arrive in another country at 4 a.m. or something bizarre.
Yes. Yep.
And can you tell me if the hotel, what should I do? Should I hang around in the airport till it gets light? Should I go straight to my hotel? This is the hotel I'm staying at. And it was able to say, look, I'm looking at the reviews, and the reviews actually mention how much people appreciate that they understand that people arrive at 4 a.m. in this particular location, and they'll be all set up to welcome you. And that was very interesting. And you can't get that off of Google.
No, you can't. And what we were talking about is that how now that going forward, or you probably already do this in advising and consulting, you kind of got to put a touch of that, right? Like if you spot that, which, only experts will spot, right? You say, hey, that's good. Like that review is important. Put that somewhere where it can be scraped. Mm-hmm. So that would be part of your consultation, right? With the AI and all of that. Would you say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, amazing. In terms of AI and analytics, and we both agree that it's going to take away the grunt work of the whole analytics. Do you see anything else that you think that people should know about? People should talk about?
So, I mean, what I like is yes, it takes away the grunt work. I mean, especially if you're a small business owner and you want some really basic help, GA4's got AI Clarity, which is the screen recording heat maps kind of very useful tool that shows you how people actually move around on a page. It has got an AI help, and you can see basic stuff that it will point out to you, and it will point out sudden peaks and things that it's not expecting. Which is very helpful. And what I really appreciate is not having to do so many diagrams and things, because it will make really nice diagrams.
Automatic.
I'm really
Yes.
not my strong point. But I still feel that honestly what it can't do at the moment is the so what. Because the point of measuring anything in my world is to say, is this something that I need to do something about? Yep. And if so, what is that? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to test? In my experience, and that's where you need to put it into the context of that specific business.
Yeah, it goes bigger and bigger. I think so. I think that it tries to, though. If you ask it to do some recommendation, it'll come back with it. So right. I'm talking to, this just came up like recently as well. I don't know why it took so long to come up. So these days I do proper reports, right? Proper reports. AI helped, but then I do all the reporting and everything else. So now the client just instantly runs it through AI, right? You guys tell me what I need to know and tell me where this guy's wrong or whatever, right? Like if they want to be really tough right. about it. And then they'll make 5 recommendations. I read those recommendations. It's not good, man. It is not good. It is not good recommendation. It's probably 1 out of 5. I say, oh yeah, I could look into that. But it's not good at joining the dots. So right. I guess I'm mixed feelings about it, because I feel like, yes, I want to continue using AI to do all these wonderful things, but it's like there's a big gap. From my experience. Yeah.
And, who knows whether it will get closed soon or not. I hope not, because I'd still like, what I'm hoping is that for people like us, where we come in is the higher level stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great. I don't want to do the grunt work anyway.
No, it's good. As we wrap up, please tell us more about your services. Tell us where people can get the book, you think they'll get out of the book. And yeah.
So the book is really, you just said this great thing that is my book is based on, which is when the client said to me, I was trying to explain all this stuff. And he said, Philippa, just tell me what I need to know to run my business better. And I loved that. And I went, that's it. That's the question. Right. So the book is for business owners and leaders who maybe haven't really grappled with analytics yet, maybe find it overwhelming, which is entirely understandable because there's so much that you could get. It's full of stories and examples that are all in English. I really tried to write the whole book without any techie terms.
Is. I can testify that. Yeah, it's very, very easily read. Yeah.
But really lots of ideas about what you should look for, what you can find out, what you can do with it. It's hopefully designed to inspire you to at least have a go, get started, or bring somebody in to help you. But the real central message of the book is that if you have a website that plays any kind of a role in your business and you're not looking at the analytics, honestly, you're flying blind with everything that you're doing. I had somebody I was talking to a few weeks ago. Her site was really, really old. She hadn't done anything with it for several years. She was actually, this is very much B2B. She's an executive coach in her fee's like 25,000 because she works with really high level people. Yep. She had a load of content on the site about leadership and, that kind of topic. But the site was old, as I said. And she said, oh, I don't worry about my website. Nobody ever goes to it. I never use it. It's a complete waste of, And I said, are you sure? And she hadn't looked at the analytics in forever. So I said, well, let's just take a look. Yeah. And she was getting 500 visitors a week, 500 people a week, because she had such great content that she was showing up in search and everything. She had no idea. She was that's 2,000 people a month, right? She was just losing them. Now, they're not all going to be about to spend 25 grand on her business, but there might be other things that she could do with them. And some of them might be, right? She had no idea they were even there. Yeah, and that's why analytics is so important.
And I think you talk about in your books as well about these unseen low-hanging fruits they can capitalize with the examples and stuff like that. Yeah, I think you spoke about people who like business leaders who looked at it or been looking at it but don't really understand it or want to do better at it. And also, I would add to that list people who've been burnt before. With people that's, analyzed it, but they don't know what they're talking about. You know what it is? And I'm going to sound like a racist, but it doesn't matter. It's my show. People with accents and stuff, it's very hard to talk to them. And you know what I mean? And then they might be wizards, but they really need someone like you because we need to converse. We need to ask questions and get questions answered. We need people living in developed worlds who knows about the environment and the game, right? That what the situation is on the ground. So they can look at the website, they can relate and say, yeah, I don't think people's going to go do that. I don't think people living in this suburb is going to go and do that, bro. You know what I mean? And I think that's really important. I think that's what makes you stand out.
Of course, Jeremy, I should point out that we both got very different accents, but
yeah. Yes. I know. You're in Cali now, right?
Sorry?
You're in California now?
I am in California, but I'm not from here, as you can hopefully hear.
From UK. Yeah, I'm talking about like there's wizards that's on the ground, but they're not very good at explaining stuff. Right. And it's hard to understand. I think that's where people like business owners get turned off from continuing, et cetera, as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think people should get a hold of you. How do people get a hold of you these days?
So my book is available online and at all bookstores. So that's pretty easy to find.
Yep.
Hopefully you'll put a link in the show notes.
I will.
And I'm available on LinkedIn. I think I'm the only person in the world with my name. So it's very easy to find me on LinkedIn, and I very much like hearing from people. And I'm actually working on my own website right now. It's about to be completely redesigned. So that's called websitesthatwin.com.
Websitesthatwin.com. So it's Philippa Gamse. The last name is spelled Gamse, and the book is Website Wealth: A Business Leader's Guide to Driving Real Value from Your Analytics. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Philippa. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeremy.